Okay. So for this show, we've updated our crush range. Yeah. So we've got the Crush 12. It's the original Crush 12 with improved op amps and cab sim added to the headphone out, so you can kind of record with it or do whatever you want to do. You know. Then starting with the 20, we've got a full 4-stage preamp with 2-stage clean channel, shared EQ, foot switchable, so it's a channel switching amp here. All analog, there's no modelling in there, it's all real gain. We've got the 20 RT, which is the same, but it has a digital tuner and a digital reverb module added to it. So that's the only digital part of the circuit, you know. And then the 35 RT, again, same preamp, bigger output stage, along with a buffered effects loop. So added to that one as well, yeah. And then obviously we go on to things like the Tiny Terror. It's a classic 2-stage, 2 L84 output tubes, 15 watts, 2 12X7s. Most of the overdrive is made in the output stage, which is why it doesn't have an effects loop, because there wouldn't really be much point in putting one on the circuit that does that. You know, most of that amp works in push-pull and not single-ended. So it's kind of the way it sounds. It's like classic sort of like early 70s sort of guitar sounds, you know, cranked up, output tube distortion, you know. And then we've got variations on that format with like the Dart Terror, the Jim Root Terror, the OR15. They're the same output stage, but with 4 stages of gain and a buffered effects loop, tube buffered effects loop, you know. Again, you can, if you get the volume up and the gain down, because the 4-stage preamp does clean up at lower gain levels, you know. And it'll also clean up quite nicely off the guitar as well, you know. The OR50, slightly different animal. This was the first sort of, this came out for our 40th anniversary, you know. We did one with a plexiglass front. This is a 3-stage, but the EQ is at the end of the circuit. So, the EQ is really shaping rather than filtering. It's the output stage is after, you know. So, and this control here is a cross-line presence control up to the white area. When it gets into the white area, negative feedback chimes in as well, so you get a massive upper mid sort of treble boost. It's quite a unique sound in there. There's a lot of players use those. They're quite a a lot of players seem to like the OR50, but it's very different. The thing is with the ORs, they're each different to each other. They're very quirky range that lends itself to the early 70s orange amps, you know. And obviously there's combo, we've got Crush Pros as well. You know, you've got a 120 watt 2x12 combo to a 60 watt 2x12 combo. Effectively solid state rockaverbs, effectively, you know. The reverb is digital, it's not spring, but that's the only digital part of the circuit. The rest is all analog, you know. They come with Voice of the World speakers, which is a speaker we sort of developed. I wanted the top end and mid character that you get on a vintage small dust cap speaker, like a G12H or a vintage 30. But the bottom end, I wanted it to react a lot faster than those speakers. So it's kind of unique in the way that the more you push it, the faster the bottom end plays on that speaker. So it's got quite a unique response, you know. It's not. Then new for the show, we've got the OB1300 and OB1500. These are solid state Class AB bass amps, they're not Class D. Reason being, I wanted to move away from Class D because I didn't like the sound of it. You know, I preferred the sound of Class AB. And I've got the feeling that it's probably going to be much more reliable as well, you know, which is important. Now, this is the clean section. This is there all the time. This is plus minus 10 dB EQ bells These are done with Baxendale bells, which works great for bass. This is a blend circuit, which blends harmonics into the sound that's already there. So this is gain, and this is blend. So this, if you crank this with no gain on it, it will still add harmonic richness to the sound, even though you're not really adding much distortion. Whereas if you add this, you're adding distortion. So you might only want a tiny bit here, a tiny bit, just to give the harmonics an edge to the sound, or to make the bass play a certain way, you know, or to do that. And that's foot switchable. You can kick that in and out.